Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston.
Good morning. I am Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston and back with Better Life TV to give you some good news about something going on in your health. We pick a new topic every week, and every third Thursday, I get to record with my hero, Ray Solano, who is a compounding pharmacist up in Cedar Park, Texas, which most people know as Austin. So Ray joins me every third Thursday with a fantastic topic. And this week, I think you guys are going to love this. We're going to talk about type 2 diabetes, which in South Texas is just epidemic. And I think everybody I see in clinic is either pre-diabetic or knee deep in diabetes and for quite some time. So good morning, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm fine.
Great.
You're fine. It's getting a little bit of windy up here in North Austin. How about you?
Same here. I walked in this morning. I thought this blonde hair was just going to settle again. So, but I did it. I got it back in control. It's cold though. Finally, for November, we're going to have some holiday weather, I guess.
That's right. There we go.
Yeah. So good. Well, tell me the good news. You and I had a little bit of a discussion before we got going this morning, and I loved what I heard, and everybody's going to love hearing this for sure.
Well, you know what I call this time of year, it's the Super Bowl of sugar season. It starts at Halloween and it ends in Valentine's Day. And if you're looking at some football analogies, we're still about the first quarter. It kicks off at halftime around Thanksgiving. So to get people started, their blood sugars are already creeped up from Halloween. Everybody has come down with the flu 2 weeks after Halloween. So that's right about now. All across the country, people getting sick. They got a little bit of viruses. Well, they just ate about 5 pounds of sugar per individual and children. So that guess what? They're all getting viruses.
Exactly.
So, and at the same time, when we look at this, the average person gains 5 pounds by the season's over. Okay.
Wow.
5 pounds on top of the 5 pounds they had last year.
Exactly.
So the average person gains 2 pounds a year as they get older.
Yes.
So this is I think is a crescendo of just a disaster.
Yeah.
Because
great train headed for a huge wall. It's
a wall.
Horrible.
So we think that we want to spend as much time as we can to get people to reverse insulin sensitivity. Yes. I think that is as healthy as any vaccines, as healthy as any lifestyle changes you can make, is center on it, reducing insulin sensitivity. This is where, the body can't take any more glucose into the cells. So lets it just float around as a free radical and do destruction anywhere it can. And it serves no purpose, right?
Absolutely.
It just inflames everything. It's a center of inflammation.
Yes, it is. I always make the joke. I think I'm still wearing my birthday cake from, my 21st birthday and 22nd, 23rd. And so it does nothing but grow you and
grow you. I like that. It grows you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so if in South Texas, like I say, we have an epidemic. And again, every patient I see is either diabetic. And so, we deal with diabetes. But we also have pre-diabetes, which you describe as insulin sensitivity very appropriately. Right. And I think the way I describe it to patients is that, your sugar needs to get into the cell for energy. So when the blood sugar rises, then the pancreas puts out insulin as a key to unlock the door and allow sugar into the cell. And when you have type 2 diabetes or insulin sensitivity, the cells change the locks. So you get a rising sugar, but you also get a rise in insulin, like an army to just bust down the door. And it's a very backward system for your body. It becomes very inflamed on top of that. So is there hope for anybody? Is there a
Well,
way?
let me back up for just a
We get
second.
the medications,
You mentioned something about pre-diabetes,
right?
and what everybody knows their numbers for their cholesterol numbers, right?
Sure.
I mean, you can walk on the street and you can ask three people, and they'll know what their cholesterol numbers are.
Mhm.
But do they know their blood glucose numbers? And they see a number, and I think this is a misinformation. You correct me if I'm wrong, but pre-diabetes starts when the literature says it's 100. When you
Yes.
have your blood glucose levels
Right.
at 100, you're
Right.
pre-diabetic.
Yes.
I
And
think
I actually move it
Jim
back to
Laval
about,
says it's lower,
right. I
90.
use it to 95 or sometimes
There
90. It depends on who I'm talking to.
So if you look at the number of 95 blood sugar levels as pre-diabetes, the amount of population that you're talking about is 2/3
Right.
of our population.
Exactly.
That
That's
that is a staggering number, and the number of people that die from COVID related deaths, 70% of them have diabetes or type 2 diabetes
right.
or obese. So I'm not very smart, but the first thing I would say is, you know what? Let's just try to get rid of the sugar. How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great. And, just to drop this in there, when I talk to my patients about it, I ask them, the 6.5 for your hemoglobin A1C is the cutoff for diabetes. And I often say, well, you're in my mind, you're either pregnant or not. What's the difference between 6.3 and 6.4 or even 6.2? So I just don't understand why we have that cutoff right there. It's very significant, again, when your sugar rises above 95 when you're fasting.
But you could be on a TV commercial and just walk around and just be jovial and oh, I got my number down as 6.5.
Right?
But you look at them, they're all 100 pounds overweight.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's so true. Absolutely. So is there any way that we can reverse this and treat this without just writing more prescriptions and more prescriptions for people?
Well, I think that there was an article that was just published in the American Heart Association in a scientific session that talked about inflammation, of course, is a symptom of type 2 diabetes, but intermittent fasting, and that's not we're not talking about skipping meals between meals.
Right.
We're talking about not fasting as we would in many different cultures, that 25 days of nothing but water.
Right.
But intermittent fasting it has a huge effect. And again, this is a short burst of time, 12 to sometimes 24 hours of not eating, can have the same effect as diabetes medications.
You said the same effect.
This is the article, says all participants had elevated LDL levels, and the intermittent fasting act as a diabetes drug. And if you get real granular on the similar to the SGLT inhibitors,
Right.
for that are the drugs, is it actually had the same similar effects. So they actually did the blood work on them on the same levels of these receptors. Now, what were they talking about? They're talking about in some cases 24 hours. There's a lot of different, your practice, you may look at intermittent fasting much differently. But if you stop eating at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, okay, and you don't eat till noon, okay, that qualifies as an intermittent fasting 2 or 3 times a week. I don't know. How do you feel about that's pretty easy? What do you think?
I do think it's easy. Actually, that is something, honestly, when I was 300 pounds, I had diabetes. And one of my tactics for losing weight and losing that 162 pounds was intermittent fasting. And this is what I preach to my patients all the time, is to stop at 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
Make sure you get your calories during the day, because otherwise
Right.
you're going to eat your muscle and you don't want to do that. But stop around 7 o'clock at night and then go throughout the night. You can have water, but wake up the next morning And usually I'll go ahead and work out too. You got to be careful doing that.
Careful.
So ask your physician and be cautious about that. But that's what I do is I work out. And then around 9 o'clock or so, I eat. And then that's almost every day, at least 5 days a week. And the other two, sometimes I'll go ahead and go until noon. And that, I believe, was an enormous part of lowering my blood sugars, but also losing weight, but the correct type of weight, actually losing fat tissue, not muscle tissue. And I think it's extremely effective. So that's something I'd already practiced. Now, what you are discussing though, is, the intermittent fasting, I feel like, is something that has been a part of more, holistic, integrative type medicine, not really in the contemporary field, but you're talking about the American Heart Association, something we've been preaching for years.
That's
Now the
exactly
American
right.
Heart Association on board. This is huge. Huge.
Well, unfortunately, we look at healthcare as very expensive. And I'm always looking for simple solutions of things that you can avoid. And unfortunately, there are some restrictions from your diet of changing the fuel that you put in your body.
Absolutely.
Makes a huge difference. And stop eating at a time of 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening makes a big difference in your blood sugar levels, because your body has it seems to reset itself. I mean, if you look at it, the VA had a program for turning around diabetes 50 years ago. And it was a 600 calorie a day diet in the hospital, okay, under care. But we have found restricting calories, the body fixes itself, fixes its glucose. This insulin resistance seems to go away. So we do know for centuries that this is one of the ways that we can tremendously reduce the risk for inflammation and many, many, many different chronic diseases.
And live longer. And that is what everybody's trying to do, is not just live longer, but live better and healthier and happier and, better quality of life. And that is part of it. So that underlying inflammation, it is all about what we eat, all about food. So I don't care how many prescriptions I sit in my clinic and I write, which is not many, honestly. But the thing that I preach over and over and over is it's how you eat, what you eat 90% of the time. I think there was an old statistic that was that, 80% food, 20% exercise. I think it's actually 90% food and 10% exercise. And exercise is great for anti-inflammation, muscle building, but what we put in our bodies. People will tell me all the time in clinic, hey, I eat good. And I just kind of want to hit
everybody
my forehead.
Everybody eats good, but how
Everybody
come we
eats
have
good.
2/3 of the population
Or
is
overweight.
or in this pre-diabetic, diabetic?
Exactly.
And it should be the biggest wake-up call that we have. And that's what we're preaching. We kind of make some fun out of it and call it the Super Bowl of sugar, and we give it some names that people can deal with. I told patients on a radio special, how about you buy your candy back from your kids and give them money instead, and see how much they like.
And then
that.
Don't eat it. Don't buy it back and then take it and eat it.
That's right. The parents don't eat it though. Okay, that's the thing.
No, it's so true. Absolutely. So if patients, where can they find information about intermittent fasting? I know my patients can ask me and we can talk about it, but there are going to be people who hop on Google now or Pinterest or something and start looking at intermittent fasting. There's a lot of bad information out there. So where's a good place for people?
I like Dr. Mercola's website. MERCOLA, Mercola, Dr. Mercola. He's been talking about intermittent fasting, and he has a lot of literature on it forever. That is perfect. And then the other intermittent fasting is the Prolon diet.
Yes.
And, if anybody wants to call us, I have the copies of the book. It's 27 years of research on talking about intermittent fasting and the proper way of doing it. At a university of Southern California, I'm trying to remember the founding doctor at the Prolon diet. It escapes me just right now. It'll come to me, but the Prolon diet, you can go online and look at it. I think you do it out of your practice as well. So
Yes.
it's a way of tricking the body to go into an intermittent fasting over a period of 5 days, but giving it just the right nutrients at the right time and the right levels so it doesn't lose muscle mass.
Exactly.
And so it does exactly what we're talking about, increases natural killer cells. So it's perfect for people that are going to surgery a week from now or 2 weeks from now, or going to have to do chemotherapy. Cancer patients, this is perfect for them. So people that are type 2 diabetic, this is a way to reset. In 5 days, you can reset your receptors.
Absolutely.
Without starving yourself.
And it's
So,
beautiful. And that Prolon, I'll have some information on my website, and that will be drpbetterlife.com, includes all the information about where to find Ray at PD Labs, but also you can go to pdlabsrx.com and find Ray directly from there. And he's got all sorts of information on the website, all sorts of supplements and books and information that you can find. He's also got the Healthy Choices radio network and a TV show up in Austin. You guys have so much going on up there. So pdlabsrx.com.
and it's free. You know, we're in this pilgrimage to get people to get healthy,
to the right place.
And prevention. And you know, I still answer the phone. I still talk to people all the time because unfortunately, we know that our healthcare system is not optimal. It's kind of broken, and people are just looking. They're just searching for help, and they're going everywhere.
Exactly.
So we're here to for some simple things. I mean, just alpha lipoic acid. You know, it was actually going to be a drug.
Right.
Bristol Myers Squibb was going to take it on as a prescription drug. But unfortunately, there wasn't the economics there, but it reduces blood sugar levels in many patients 20%.
Which is great. And you know what, Ray? I think this is a fantastic topic for the other side. We are going to take a short break. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Hang on just a minute. We'll take a short break and then let's talk about that. That's huge. So we will be right back.
Right back.
All right, Ray.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Hey, welcome back. I am Dr. Marianne Pinkston, and I am coming on the other side of talking about the Super Bowl of sugar and holiday time right now and discussing this all with Ray Solano, who is with PD Labs up in Cedar Park, Texas, or also very close on the nose of Austin up there. And we're talking about sugar and diabetes and reversing it. And oh my gosh, we've covered so much, but we are going to talk about alpha lipoic acid. I dropped you off there at the end of the first half talking about it because this is very interesting stuff. ALA.
Alpha lipoic acid, there's different types of it. The R version and the product out of Italy is probably the most effective. And it's a very unique amino acid combination. Alpha lipoic acid, the body sees it as a natural substance, and it reverses many of this insulin sensitivity. So the body sees it and it allows glucose to be taken up by the cells, which we want it to be, because circulating high levels of glucose is like having gasoline in an environment. It is causing ravaging all different types of joints. It's causing all different types of chronic conditions. So we have to get those blood sugar levels down to normal.
Yeah.
And sometimes the pancreas cannot secrete enough insulin. So this is an aid that helps the cells be able to say it's okay to take in glucose. Very simple medication. Many times it's available in sustained release, so you can take it once or twice a day, so the blood sugars drop properly. In some cases we've seen, I don't possibly the people that are on insulin, they would take alpha lipoic acid and they'll have to reduce their insulin usage.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so we want people to realize that, you know what, you may feel a little bit low blood sugar, because it works.
Watch your numbers.
It works. So we think that anybody that is in this category of pre-diabetics or type 2 diabetes should have a bottle of alpha lipoic acid. Absolutely. Or a combination product. There's a number of
where you get it though, right? I mean, anybody can go to, I hate to name any stores, I don't want to do that, but your local store and buy, alpha lipoic acid. But I usually do not condone that, because they're fillers and, this is not a regulated system, vitamins and whatnot. So you need to get a good version of it.
I like the R form, the R version, and these usually only sold to professionals.
Exactly.
Like yourself and us. We have it on our website, pdlabsrx.com. You'll see alpha lipoic acid and alpha boost, we call it. Yes. And it's one of the pillars of keeping blood sugars down, along at the same time keeping the candy and the sweets out of your diet.
Yes.
It's a combination. I'm sorry, but you can't just have both ways.
Exactly. You really do have to change your diet. That is absolutely a part of it.
Just don't buy it at the store. Okay. That's probably the easiest thing, because at 2 a.m, or if it's late at night and you've had a hard day, many people will just do whatever to get that good feeling back. So we just don't buy it.
Right. Keep it out of the house. Keep it out of the car.
Keep it out of the car. That's right.
Right.
And when you go, it's just habits. Okay. Yes. I can't tell you the last time I have ever gone to a restaurant or had a sweetened soft drink.
Exactly. Same.
I just haven't, if somebody brought it to me, I wouldn't grasp for it. But, Diet Coke, here's the other thing people may not understand. Right. Diet soft drinks can be very addictive.
Yes.
And they actually raise blood sugar levels.
They do. They prep your body as if it's expecting a blood sugar rise. Really, your body treats it the same as sugar. So you cannot use, especially Splenda. And I believe that's where I got melanoma from, honestly, is from drinking too much Splenda, trying to get off of sodas and trying to lose weight. That was a very dangerous thing to do. So artificial sweeteners is definitely not okay. Not okay.
And if you look at the literature, this all started in 1970s when we had a combination of two things. We got off of the natural sugar grid and went with corn syrup.
Right.
High fructose corn syrup is not a natural sugar that your body knows what to do with it. Right. And then at the same time, we introduced artificial sweeteners. Right. So they thought that this was a way to help diabetics control their sugar, because it wasn't sugar. Right. However, the body saw it as sugar, and people gained weight. Yes. At the same time. So it had a two-for effect. And unfortunately, diet soft drinks and diet sodas and diet colas and these Mountain Dews are addictive substances. Wow. I don't know what we do know that it causes so many different changes in brain chemistry. It is unfortunate. It's something you just have to not consume.
Exactly. And just not do whatsoever.
Just don't do. There's a great thing called water. you know,
And don't
how
add
about
a bunch
this?
of stuff
How
because
about
you add
this?
crystal
How about
light and things like
how
that to your water. And
mineral water?
I know
Okay, just
exactly.
you
Just
know,
yeah,
they do sell that at Costco. They sell it,
exactly. And it's
and
good
it's
for you.
really inexpensive. And so you
Well,
stack your garage with it, and
that's right.
people.
Be careful. Don't get it in the heat too if it's in plastic bottles. But right, you know
No,
what?
these are glass.
There's a glass, and that's the best way to do it.
It's
Right
even
there.
better.
Glass
And you
bottle.
spray, and you know what we do is we squeeze ginger juice in
Exactly.
it,
Exactly.
and so it's good.
We are at the 30-second mark. Can you believe it? I hate how that 7 minutes goes so fast. But you know what? I have enjoyed this so much. I think this is one of our better shows together, my friend, and good information. Thank you for bringing this to everybody's attention. And we'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks. I hope that you have a happy Thanksgiving and
You too.
stay safe and all. But thank you. As always, we will talk to you very soon.
Anytime.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
Thank you, dear. All right. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you.